Jennifer Hillman will be back in just a few minutes with her guest. You're live. Welcome, hello, my brothers and sisters. This is Dave once again from the Wolf's Den, looking for the Age of Aquarius, which I can't find because I got too many songs, too many folders. And by the way, it's time for Abstract Illusion Radio with Jen Hillman and Valerie Elster.
Yay! Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. This is Jennifer Hillman. We are with Valerie, and it is a beautiful full moon day. It is a blue moon. The energy has been definitely intense and rocking a lot of people. I know it's been keeping me up for at least the last week, if not longer. But I'm being productive, which is really good. It's really pushed me to get stuff done. So,
yay.
Now, Valerie, you do several different things. You are definitely a goddess energy beyond belief. Yes. You are a Reiki master. You are a spiritual coach. You do Akashic Records Insights.
Yes.
And then do you help people kind of reconnect with their divine goddess as well?
I do. You know, I actually used to have a show called The Goddess Within. And the goal of the show was really to reconnect people to this powerful goddess energy. As you know, that really started to, I guess, hit another level last year. It did for me anyway, in January of 2012, was just this massive kickoff of the divine feminine energies. So I do kind of help people reconnect to their, I would say, authentic self, which for me encompasses, you know, why are you here? What are you here to do? Who you really are truly in your soul, not the masks that you wear, but who you really are. So that's kind of, you know, my main thing when I work with clients.
So how did this all wake up in you?
Well, I would say it actually started in 2004. I was in the internet business. I was a dot-commer. And so I came from a corporate background in marketing and entertainment and kind of fell into the internet space and was just, you know, kind of riding that roller coaster back in, I would say early 2001, 2002. And started a business and sold it and, you know, was really financially abundant, but it always felt like there's something else out there for me. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know that there's another place for me. So door just closed when I said that. Thank you.
Okay, one door closed, another one opens.
Okie dokie. So I was really searching for something that was more fulfilling for me after I sold my business. So I just kind of stumbled into Reiki. That was my introduction into, you know, other dimensions and just somewhere to put my energies. And I just loved it. And so I fell into it that way and just kept going. Really was excited about it. And I'm one of those people when I get a taste of something that excites me, I jump in. I'm so enthusiastic. I'm so excited. And I just jumped into Reiki and other things started popping up. The Akashic field started coming into my awareness. So, you know, I joke about it. When you put the light out, you know, I'm available, universe. They show up, you know, people show up.
Yeah.
And just show
you gotta be careful because you never know. How many things, it's like, things started opening up for me in 2001 as well, and it's like one door open and all of a sudden all these other doors.
Yeah.
And it's just, it was almost overflowing how much was coming in. So, and it's almost like I feel like that energy is popping up again in a way. It's almost like, the cycle is starting over for me in some ways. It's almost like the 12-year cycle. So,
I see that. That definitely makes sense. And for me, getting into Reiki in 2004, I just continued on the path until I would say late 2011. I have a 4-year-old son. So I kind of shifted out of my own work when he was born, which is 2009. I just kind of, took a break and had him and just, was engulfed in being a mom and all the exciting parts of that, sleepless nights included. So when once he got to a certain age, and this was 2011, I really stepped back into my work, and it felt like, okay, now I have to step back in because 2012 was such an amazing year and all the shifts that were going to happen. So that's when I kind of stepped back in, and everything really went to a whole nother level, 2012. And I felt it, I'm sure you did too.
Yes. 2012 was quite a year for me.
Yeah, exactly. So everything went to a whole nother level. I mean, the goddesses just came into my awareness. Gaia showed up in January. And it's also at that time I connected with a guy through Facebook. Oh, we found the age of Aquarius. Okay.
Congratulations, Dave.
Congratulations. Okay.
Now you can have your coffee.
Thank you very much.
So what do you think it was about 2012 that kind of said, hello, time to wake up, time to really step forward, you've had your fun.
You've prepared.
Yes.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. You've prepared, Padawan. For me, I knew what was going to happen. I didn't know specifically my role, but the type of information, the type of communication, spiritually, who was coming to me at the end of 2011 gave me some insight into, okay, something's going to happen. And I was getting messages, in late 2011 about codes, about, all sorts of things that were going to happen to me. I just didn't know specifically, again, what my role was going to be. But I'm kind of a rebel, for me, I'm like, bring it on. What's next? What's next for me? My highest intention is to raise the consciousness of humanity and to inspire men and women to step into their divineness. And I've always had this large vision of, changing the world, as many people do. But again, I didn't know specifically. And I think when Gaia showed up and I connected with my divine complement, which is my exact mirror, and he is in the physical, and he's about 2 hours from me, drive. Once he came into my awareness and I realized that we were supposed to do something together, it really started to take off exactly what that was. So that was it was a very profound meeting and profound energies that came through in January. And that really started me on this, again, expanded journey of my role in all of this, the shift, as we call it.
Now, a lot of people are asking this question or wondering, is everybody supposed to have their complement, their perfect mirror in this lifetime?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if everybody is supposed to have that. I think what happens, and there's more relationships. I'm actually going to talk about this with my sweetheart, my twin flame. Next week, we're actually going to do a show and talk about all these different relationships next Thursday. And because it's come up so much with me, it's come up with him, and I love other people. I think that based on your vibration, your frequency, once you reach a certain point, it opens up the connection to these relationships. Some are here in the physical, some are in the etheric. They're not actually in the physical or in this third dimension, I'll call it. So I do feel like it depends on your journey and why you're here on the planet at this time. So I don't think that everyone is supposed to meet that person. But I do feel like once you've hit that certain vibration or frequency, it opens the connection up. My show is 6 p.m. Pacific time next Thursday.
And where do they hear it?
I have a link on my wall right now. It's going to be on Vocal. And I'm actually going to create a Facebook event for it. So, it's going to be a live show, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, next Thursday with myself, and Jason is my sweetheart. So we're going to break it down and answer questions and all that jazz.
Excellent. Well,
yeah.
I know of mine spiritually, and he is in physical form, but he's kind of refusing to meet me. So it's kind of like,
Yes, I think it's because he's not in the place where he's ready for that, relationship. So it's about vibration. And last year, actually, the energy came into the planet for these different types of sacred relationships to connect. And there's more than twin flame, there's divine complement, there's twin soul, there's twin ray, there's soulmate. There's 5 or 6 different ones with different purposes. Not all romantic. Some are friendship. Some are women and women. So it's about having that resonance, with this person or people. There's more than one, typically. And it's really about being pulled together for important earth work. And that's what happened to me last January. He and I were pulled together so powerfully, Jennifer. I cannot describe the actual happenings, because unless you've experienced this magnetic pull beyond comprehension of this physical realm, it's hard to describe it, but it was so powerful. I could barely function.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I know. And he, he made me do all the work, and I'm just like, sorry, dude. And he even said he knew he had to come to me, and he still said, can't do it. And it's like, okay.
I know. And that's just the reality of it. Some people know that it's there, but they're just consciously not choosing to act on it. And I think that that's where we are in the society is, the construct of marriage and being in a relationship or being with somebody. When you feel that pull, it does not matter. None of that matters, in my opinion. You cannot ignore it. I couldn't ignore it. I guess people can, but I could not ignore it. And I was married with a, 2-year-old. So this is 2012 was a really challenging year for me, because this whole situation shifted me out of my marriage. Mm-hmm. And for me, I had to follow my heart. And above all, that's the only thing you have. You have to follow your heart, your intuition. And I had to do that, knowing that the reason we were brought together was so important. It was beyond me. It was beyond just about me and him. It had a larger purpose. And I knew that my purpose was larger. And, the greater good, it's not just about us. It's about all of us together. So.
Exactly. It has been an interesting experience with him, only because for me, I've actually connected with him since I was 5 years old.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So
and he was in a totally different country. Continent even. And it was very interesting, the connection, and it was very real and it was like more real than the physical was to me. So it was, it has been a very interesting kind of experience to know so much so long and to almost be playing this game. And I know that right now a lot of people, I really feel like the soul families and the soul groups are connecting now.
Yes. Star family as well. I totally agree, and that is definitely happening. People are moving all over the country. Jason, he was in Atlanta when he and I met, and he had always wanted to move to Los Angeles before he met me. So, and he moved, and we know of so many other people that are moving all over the country, all over the world. And that's really the pull. And that pull is what, it's a magnetic process that pulls people together. And some will ignore it, as you've said.
Mm-hmm.
Some
or
will
try
ignore
to.
it. Or try to really hard. But also what I found, Jennifer, is a lot of these these relationships are for people to come together. It could be for a day. It could be for a year, 5 years, a minute. And the reason is whatever each other has, they unlock in each other. And sometimes it's to clear. It's to heal. It's to, hear one word. And for me, I know what the purpose is. Not necessarily in the very beginning, but I always do intuit what this is about. And I feel through everything. And, I've connected with people long distance that I've never even met in person.
Right.
One I never even spoke to on the phone. I've never spoken to this guy, and he and I had a powerful connection, but I knew what the connection was about. And I knew we'd never, it would only last a few months, and it was strictly online, and there was no communication. So you just don't know what something's about. But for me, you have to follow your heart and turn off the mind, because the mind can never figure it out. It always has to be the feel, how you feel about it, or how the heart.
It's very interesting that a lot of the people that I've connected with online, many of them, it's been a healing of a past life.
Yes.
Or a reliving of a past life to get some kind of resolution.
Yes.
But it doesn't always happen. So at least for me, there's some of these things that it's like, all of a sudden they said, no, I'm done playing, and they just disappear, and it's like, wait a minute, we're not done yet.
Well,
and I'm stuck in this silence going,
oh no.
What the hell? Come on, hello? Can I complete this, please?
Well, I do work with people. You mentioned Akashic Records, which is something that I so resonated with back in 2005. And that's when I really started delving into the records. And I learned this really powerful method that I still work with today called Akashic Field Therapy. Mm-hmm. And what it does is it allows me to access, my own record as well as others. And I can offer insight into what the relationship is about. And I did that when a person comes to mind, another Jason, who I met and just had this instant connection with once again. And that connection is sexual energy. The sexual energy is what pulls people together, especially men and women. Mm-hmm. And people don't know what it's about. They're like, there's this romantic relationship here. But that's not necessarily the case, as you know. But that's the energy, the creation energy is sexual energy. So that's why it's like, okay, what is this about? But he and I connected, and I felt such loss when I was with him. And I couldn't figure it out until I went into my record. And it was a past life where he had died. And I was grieving. And when I was with him, I just felt like I'm going to lose him. And so by using, this method, looking into my own record, it gave me insight. And I really healed the situation. And the energy between us shifted. Now we're very good friends and we're still connected. But there's the romantic, that kind of heavy romantic loss is no longer there.
That's very cool. And
yes, I do help people do that.
It is amazing. The connections have really, a lot of it has been seemingly sexual, but it really has been a very deep creative process coming out of me through the connection.
Yes. Yep. And that is that energy. And that's so important for people to really understand and to work with whoever they have that kind of connection with. If they can't be with them, use that sexual energy that's created to create whatever the create is. And my create is this, I'm working on all sorts of interesting things besides my own healing work and Akashic work, some of these newer technology. I'm kind of combining my technology background with my metaphysical background and creating tools for people to shift to different states of awareness. And all of this, as you know, Jennifer, is to prepare people for what we're moving into, what the earth is actually doing, which is ascending. It's ascending, and so we all have to ascend. Anybody that resides on the planet has to ascend with it, some way, shape, or form.
Or leave the planet. Or ascend that way.
Ascend that way. I don't really know what's going to happen, although I've received a lot of different insights and communication. So I don't know technically, what's actually going to manifest. So for me, whatever I can do to help people ascend, to help people shift, that's why I'm here,
Yeah. Now, we were talking before the show a little bit, and it's like the last couple of days, a lot of, I'll just call it the old garbage, came back up, and it's like I was telling you, I just kept doing Ho'oponopono. I thought it would come up, and I'm just doing Ho'oponopono instantly. It's like I needed to release it in some way, that and then start laughing, one of the two on some of the things popping up. Laugh and then do Ho'oponopono. It's like, this again? You're kidding, right? Do you think what was it about the energy in the last couple of days that was just bringing up these issues? Because I've talked to a few people, and it's like, number one, a lot of people aren't sleeping. A lot of people are the energy is just so thick and so intense.
Yeah.
So is it because the Syrian energy is coming to visit, and people who are Syrian or related somehow with that are getting jacked up by this last little push while they're still here, or what is it?
Jacked up. Well, my awareness is, we can't go from third. So we're in the third dimension, right? As you know, physical dimension. Right. The ascension process is we're moving into fifth dimension. Well, obviously we can't go from third dimension to fifth dimension all at the same time. So what's been happening is our, move into fourth dimension, where the fourth dimensional energies are anchoring into the planet. So that's been happening over time, but what's actually happening at the end of this month is the energies will be anchored into the planet. We call them solid state. And so the emotional, the fourth dimension is the emotional dimension. And that's why everybody's emotional stuff is coming up. And what I see, whenever we're moving toward a transition, which we are, it really forces people's stuff to come up so they can transcend. They can move through it. They can heal it. They can look at it. Because as we move to the higher dimensions, any lower dimensional energies, frequencies, it just won't be tolerated. It will force you to choose, to choose to kind of, I would say transcend or ascend. And so that's why I feel like, things are coming to a head, especially in the emotional, because of the frequency that is really coming in. So I'm included. My stuff has also got triggered, as I said yesterday. And so even with all the work that we've done, there are still remnants, especially as it relates to relationships or family. Mm-hmm. Those old type of energies that just, there might be a little bit left, but it's ready to go. And I know mine's ready to go. So it's kind of ready. Yeah, yours ready. We're all ready. So, take this time, and I've been talking a lot about the emotional, and you mentioned Ho'oponopono, which is wonderful. And I thought of it this morning because you don't necessarily have to know specifically what it is. And for me, that's a wonderful method to release and gratitude and not blame. A lot of people, will blame others, right, when their stuff comes up. And they want to say, oh, I don't want to take responsibility. You're the reason I feel this way. And so I think that's such a powerful prayer to release and just, be. So I would love to do that. I know you were saying you've been doing it every morning. Do you want to do that?
I will. Let's do it. I will let you take the lead.
Oh, and Ho'oponopono? Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't done that one in a while.
Well, you want me to do it then?
Yeah, you do that one, because I also, I mentioned to you the violet flame is another technique. And so if you want to do the Ho'oponopono, I'll do the violet flame a little later, because that's a really powerful way to transform.
It really is. With Ho'oponopono, it's the forgiveness prayer. It is a Hawaiian modality that's been around for actually centuries, but has been made very popular by Joe Vitale and Dr. Oh God, now I can't remember his name.
Oh,
anyway.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. It's a Hawaiian gentleman, right?
Yeah, it's a Hawaiian psychologist who was in the criminally insane institution, and instead of actually meeting 500, I'll say clients because I don't want to say they're prisoners or anything, clients, instead he just did Ho'oponopono. And within less than 4 years, 90% of them were healed and most of them were released because he just prayed over their file saying, forgiving himself for the situation coming into his life. He didn't need to know the specifics, but there is another method that's really intense, but it's a lot of writing, and it's a very pure essence ritual that you can do that I'm not going to get into right now. But the basic premise is really think of the situation, think of the person, and then simply say, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And basically you're saying, I love the divine. Please forgive me for bringing this situation into my presence. I'm sorry the situation is happening. Thank you for healing it.
Yes. Beautiful.
And this really can go through your local and universal. It goes for all dimensions, and it really can heal 7 dimensions forward and backwards, especially if you have a specific thing that is like abuse within a family. You just focus on it. And I usually keep doing it till I get like a buzz that has just like been sent out.
Yeah.
And I feel it. In fact, you can do it on things within your body. Like I actually had a bump on my face. There was almost like a callus put on the middle of my face. Oh. And I had a situation that I was getting a lot of guys, but they were more going on the outside beauty and not the beauty inside of me. And I got tired of that kind of situation. Oh. So I actually manifested something that kind of made me ugly. But once I realized that and really said, I don't need to worry about what, the right guy will see the beauty in. And I actually put my pinky on it because it wasn't that big, on that bump, and said Ho'oponopono till I felt the buzz.
Wow.
And it fell off 2 days later.
Oh, I love it.
So it healed, but I knew the root was the relationships and the men that I had been attracting and how they just were going the outside beauty. I understood why and what I was creating. So Beautiful. It really, that was that was amazing.
Yeah.
To really feel it. And I did it for 2 days in a row. Each time I felt the buzz and then it fell off.
Beautiful. So it's just 4 easy steps. And like you said, you can focus on something specific. But it's, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And I know there's a beautiful music. Somebody did this to music somewhere.
Yes, and you can find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
But it's really, and it doesn't matter what order you put the phrases in, just as long as you think of the situation and say the phrases.
Mm.
And it really can open up and really start the healing process. So it's a really good way to heal humanity. And if you're having trouble with money, you're having trouble manifesting what you want, if you're having trouble in a relationship, if you're getting really bummed out by like the treatment of kids, of animals, of humanity and how we're treating each other, Ho'oponopono can really send out that vibration of forgiveness and healing energy to really help the transition and the evolution of the planet to a higher vibration a lot smoother.
Yeah.
At least I really feel that it makes a difference.
Well, I felt the buzz as I just said that. So it opens up, that connection to spirit.
Okay, your broadcast, you mentioned about the relationship next week, Thursday at 6 p.m.
Oh, 6 to 7. I think we're going to try for an hour. Yeah, 6 to 7 Pacific Standard Time. So we're just going to, again, chat about the different sacred relationships, our experience, how we came together. Jason's my twin flame. So, and, take questions from people. So we just wanted to start talking about it, open that conversation so people are aware, aware that, these exist and the energy is there to support it. And again, to follow your heart. And above all else, it's funny because I've been having conversations with my business partner, my divine complement. We say the brain is a storage system. You really can't figure anything out there. It's really through feel, through the heart, through the solar plexus, the second chakra. And for me, that's how I work. I feel things. And if it doesn't feel right, I don't move forward on them. So, and that's really where this emotional clearing is about, is if you're in an emotional coma, I call it an emotional coma, it's something that I pick up quite a bit on people in the Akashic records. And just like a regular coma, the emotional coma is you shut down completely. And a lot of people are going through life in an emotional coma because they haven't processed any trauma from the past. So it's, time, the energy on the planet is forcing everyone to look at whatever they're holding on to that is of a lower vibration emotionally. And, anger and worry and a lot of those are lower vibrations. They bring you down, literally. So, I'm excited to talk about that. And if anybody has any questions, they could submit them prior to me on Facebook or private message me or visit my website, send me an email.
Well, I think it's interesting that relationships have become really important, even if it's just, like a business partnership. Its collaboration and combining of energy is really important in this new dimension. Yes, collaboration is key. And that's one thing I got a message for a few weeks ago, which was, we have to all come together in the spirit of cooperation and collaboration. And I put a post about, it's not about me and you, it's about us. It's all of us. We are all connected, whether we understand that or not. We're all connected, There's this thing called the collective consciousness, and it informs us all. And for any of us to release, trauma or lower vibration, it affects all of us. It affects the collective. And I had this idea yesterday. I was in the shower. Of course. Of course. And I thought, I want to do a peace. I know people do them on Facebook, but I want to do a peace vigil, worldwide peace vigil, which is perfect with Ho'oponopono. Pono, pono, pono.
Pono, pono, pono. It's a wonderful prayer. And, we talked about the violet flame as another one. Just to have people focus on that and say that collectively, that does make a difference. Us as individuals do make a difference. Mm-hmm. And that's something to keep in mind. As we raise our vibration, we do affect the collective. That does affect the planet. So
my question, I'm definitely connecting to the oneness. Oh yeah. And discernment and knowing I definitely am picking up the overall angst and worry of the planet. And do you have suggestions for the audience? Because I know a lot of people are feeling this way, of the best way to discern and to separate so you don't get overwhelmed and wonder, is this really my stuff coming up, or is it the universal stuff and I just happen to turn the dial just right and catch it?
Well, it's tricky. I think for me, discernment is about feel. How do I feel about this? Does this feel like my stuff? Does it feel like my client's stuff? So for me, that is the barometer. Is I close my eyes, I kind of drop into my heart,
right,
or drop into my solar plexus or my second chakra and say, how does this feel? So I think it's really about getting quiet. And for most people, meditation, is where they can quiet the mind. Because once you quiet the mind, well, the other senses become more heightened. And for me, it's easier to discern, what's mine, what's theirs, etc. But as I said, because we're part of the collective, the more in tune you are with that network, they call it the neural net, and there's other descriptions. The more you are in tune with that, you do tend to pick up the collective trauma, the collective emotional, like you said, worry, which ironically is what I picked up in my Akashic record right before I got on the phone with you, is worry, a routine of worry. And a routine is a continually running script in the Akashic record. And the Akashic records work with the subconscious. So I was running this routine of worry in my record. And I just kind of, released it this morning. And the opposite of worry is peace, just what we talked about.
Right.
And so it's just a matter of getting quiet and, trusting in this divine, and also just being in the present. Because for me, as you know, worry is about, I'm not in the moment, I'm somewhere else, right?
Right.
I'm in the future. I'm not in the present. And so the only moment that matters is right now, is the present moment. Not to say you can't have some attention on the future, but if you're attaching a lower vibration like worry, it is doing more harm than good. It's actually not, pulling into my awareness what I want. It's pulling in what I don't want.
and manifesting it over and over and over again. And that's, I did that actually, that repeating theme more in 2011 than I did in 2012. I kind of just surrendered and said, okay, whatever. But I was just like at my wit's end. It's like, enough. But I also found this book that taught me how to do what they call the golden fleece. And you actually go into a very relaxed state and you lay on your belly and you see this golden fleece going through your aura and going through you, collecting anything that isn't yours, any energy, and you can connect it to any person specifically, universally, a situation, anything that's holding you down to really feel your heart and your true essence and just kind of filter it out, it's amazing.
Wow, I love it.
So it's a good way of clearing the aura and making sure you don't have tears in your aura, because that's how they kind of sneak in and plug into you. So you got to make sure your aura doesn't have tears. And it's kind of fascinating that being so in tune that you can feel, okay, there's something, behind my left shoulder and I need to fix that, that little tear because I can feel it. Yeah. And being able to just go in there and just be able to smooth everything out to make sure everything is secure, because right now, don't you think energy vampire is in a rampant high?
Definitely, and it's interesting because I've seen this talked about and I feel the same way. Just as there are parasites and, for physical, in the physical universe, there's also parasites in the spiritual, in the non-physical. And so it is really important to shift, again, any lower vibrational energies, which are emotional traumas and, anger and hate and the other stuff. Because when you have those, what happens is you attract, law of attraction, mm-hmm. You attract a similar vibration. And there are, different energies and entities out there that will connect with you and actually feed off your lower vibrational energy. So it is very important to release, to shift, to really step out of, anything that is bringing you into that realm. And I pick them up in the records, Jennifer. It's, I pick up, dark force entity is probably the most powerful. And I do pick that up on a lot of people. And it really is an actual physical, or whatever, spiritual, non-physical entity that attaches to somebody's aura and feeds off them, just like you would, in the physical sense. So I agree. Very, very important to clear in any way you can. Whatever works, meditation, Ho'oponopono, the violet flame, any technique that resonates with you. I recommend transmuting and transforming lower vibration energies. So I definitely love to do the violet flame if we have time.
Well, I got a question for you. Are you on just for 1 hour or 2?
Oh, probably 1 hour, only because I have my little one coming back.
Okay,
but we can go over
fine.
a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if it has to be.
That's fine.
Okay.
I wasn't sure, so I needed to check.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can go over a little bit. He's not back yet, but.
Okay. So with that being said about the violet flame, can you give a little history about it?
Yes. So the violet flame is, attributed to Saint Germain, and the violet flame is really this divine gift and tool given to us by this ascended master. And it's a sacred fire that exists on the higher dimensions. Some people have seen it and other people feel it. It's this higher level flame, and it's really what they call spiritual alchemy. Just as alchemy turns lead into gold, the ultimate purpose of the violet flame is to turn the human into the divine. We're all divine beings having a human experience, right? And just by connecting with the flame, it really transmutes denser flames, or denser feelings rather, actions, deeds, karma, anything that's, again, of a lower vibration. So, I'd love to, jump into it. If you said, let's do it. I'm ready.
Go for it.
Okay. So, there's many ways to use the violet flame. This is a real basic method, and it's pretty simple. And, I just essentially jump into the invocation. But, what you can do is just imagine this violet flame into your body. And you can ask a higher self, a master, a guide to assist you if it's not resonating. Or just ask that this flame, be made manifest within you. You could visualize it. There's a lot of violet flame references online, and you can just look at a violet flame. And then if you feel guided, you could, ask it to spin around your body or just sit above your head again, or just imagine it in front of you. And, ask this violet flame to transmute anything that you want to change or eliminate from your life. Some people mention everything, like a shopping list. Some people have a specific thing they would like to transmute. And you can transmute anything and everything standing in the way of your ascension, or standing in the way of your connection to your higher self. So just go ahead and center yourself now. Take a few deep breaths to prepare for this invocation. Mighty I Am Presence, beloved God, my heavenly source, please make manifest in me now the sacred violet flame of transmutation. I ask to bring the violet flame into every cell, molecule, and atom of my body, filling me totally and completely. Blessed violet flame, blaze into my heart and expand out and all around my bodies, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, surrounding my entire being with your divine grace, love, mercy, and forgiveness. I ask now to transmute all karma, negative thoughts, actions, deeds, and energy that I have ever created at any time, in all dimensions, on all levels, in all bodies, through all time and space, past, present, and future, for all eternity. I ask that you transmit anything and everything that stands in my way of embodying the ascended Christ being that I am. Beloved violet flame, turn all that has been transmuted into the golden platinum light of God, the Christ consciousness, the light of God that never fails. Send this golden platinum light to me now, filling and surrounding my entire body with its divine radiance. Raise my vibration and frequency to the highest level possible for me at this time. So be it, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And so it is.
So it be, and so it is done.
So it is. And whatever resonates with you, if you don't like the word God or Christ, you can put whatever you want.
Source, spirit.
Yeah, universe, whatever.
God, goddess. Father, mother.
So.
Now, that reminds me that you have some meditations on YouTube, correct?
I'm losing my voice. Yes, I do. Excuse me. I do have some meditations. I did this chakra meditation years ago, and I just uploaded it. Yes, the Creator, Mother, and Father. I just uploaded it onto, I do have a YouTube channel under my name, Valerie Elster. And so it's really a powerful, it's 20-minute chakra meditation. And it really just allows you to, quickly, shift any vibrations, align the chakras, open the chakras. And the chakras are these energy centers, in the body that respond to life situations. So a lot of time people will close certain chakras. And so this meditation can really help open those chakras and pull in this energy.
Which is so needed these
so
days.
Needed. Yeah, I will put the meditation on my wall. So if any of my Facebook friends are listening, I'll make it public so anybody can see it.
Well, we appreciate that. Your other half, Jason, sent me a copy of it, and I have been listening to it.
Oh, yay!
Yes. We're like brother and sister from another planet or another star.
I know. Yay.
So we were chatting the other day. So it was a very interesting conversation indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've got about 5 minutes, so I turn it over to you to lose your voice even more by promoting or saying anything you wish to in the last 5 minutes.
Well, I already talked about, if anybody is looking to get insight into, anything that's happening in their life, the Akashic Records are an amazing tool. And I've been working in the records, like I said, since 2005. Yikes! 8 years. So, that's definitely something that I've been guided to really help people move through blocks, if they're stuck, figure out why. And I love that work, and I can do that over the phone or Skype, and so it's a wonderful tool. So definitely visit my website, which is just my name, and there's more information on Akashic Field Therapy and Akashic Records there. And then, for me, it's really about sharing what I've learned, sharing the kind of information that's come through to me, and, really inspiring others to step into their higher self. So if you have a gift, if you're here, everybody has gifts, so I'll say that differently. If you've stepped into your gifts, if you know that you're part of helping people shift as we move into these higher frequencies, whatever you can do to clear your own emotional coma, emotional trauma, or baggage, do it now, because the energy is only going to increase. And what it's going to ask you to do, and all of us, is to really, step into this higher divine self so we can assist others. I talk about certain waves, Jennifer, like I'm second wave, There's others that are coming up behind me that are second, third wave. And so I think we're in the second, third wave now, where people are just waking up further to their gifts and to their awareness of what they're doing here. So I really encourage everybody to ask yourself, why am I here? What am I doing here?
And you'll be amazed if you quiet your mind. Yeah. The answers you'll get. It's like when you said that, I saw somebody surfing this giant wave, and it's just,
oh, really?
Yeah, surfing the wave. And sometimes the waves can be a little overwhelming and pull you under, and there's a lot of people out there to help you get through this. So Valerie is one of many beautiful people that I've been blessed to know, and it's been a real pleasure to have you on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. It's beautiful. And I just, it's one of those things, you set your intention and, the universe shows up, and it's really about trusting what's coming to you. And a lot of people say, well, how can I trust my own intuition? Isn't that just my mind creating something? And, it's about, again, how do I feel about this? How do I feel about, what's coming to me?
Yes.
And what I find is a lot of people push it away because in their mind, they can't figure out how to make it work. But it's not about the mind. It's about the heart. It's about the feel. How do I feel about this? So, even if you just change the questions you ask yourself and how you ask them, how do I feel about what's coming through? And just be quiet, like you said, Jennifer. You'll get the answer. And your higher self knows everything about you. And so it's really about tapping in and getting quiet and honoring what's coming through. Without question, I will say I rarely question what comes through. When I do, I know that it's not correct.
Well, it's interesting because I can state for a fact that for several years I did. And I think it was because I really thought somebody, his name will not be mentioned, was supposed to be there with me. And yet I knew he wasn't. So I held myself back from doing it. And it's like, part of me feels like that opportunity passed. And it's like I'm waiting for like a reassignment.
Yes, that's important. And just know that what I've realized, everything comes around again in another form.
And it's like I'm realizing what the new form is, but even then I'm going, guys, really? That's out there already. Can I have something a little different, please? If that's the Aries in me, I've got to be first. I'm sorry, that's the Aries in me.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I look at everything in circles. It always comes around again. Everything is happening now. And so if you don't choose it, right, in this moment, it will come back again. It might not be the same form. It could be, but it might not be, because the quantum gives us unlimited possibilities. And so there's always more than one option.
Yeah. And it's like the first time the thing that held me back was the cash.
Yeah.
And I didn't I needed millions, and I wasn't able to manifest it, and I had so many doors shutting on me. It's like, all right, guys, this isn't going to work, this form right now.
Exactly. And somebody else might be doing it now. And so it's also, and I think that's important about oneness, and I know we have to go, but the whole idea is it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about all of us.
Right.
And the decision that I make is not just for me. It's the greater good. I always incorporate the greater good into my decisions, because everything I do affects everything, and everything you do affects everything. So you are important.
And that's the thing that people don't understand. And I try, and we can go over a little bit, is the impact of somebody's decision can impact your path without you realizing it.
Exactly. And I always know that everything that comes into my awareness is possible. And most of the time, I know it's already done, right, on some dimension.
Right.
It just hasn't quite aligned in the physical, in this third dimensional realm. But what we have to remember is there are many dimensions where things have already manifested. But sometimes in the third dimension, which is very slow, as some of you know, things take a little longer. And it's frustrating for those of us that understand this process. But I posted this a little while ago on my Facebook wall. Things that are created or manifested in 5D then have to go through the 4D. You have to feel whatever it is you want to manifest, and then it actually gets created, or it shows up in the 3D, the physical.
Right.
And so it is this kind of three-pronged approach. That's how I see it. So if you think of things in that way, some things aren't ready to come through in this third dimension physical space. It doesn't mean they're not there. It just means that they haven't quite aligned correctly. So it's kind of a way to look at things rather than negate, it hasn't manifested for me. That's not necessarily the case. It just hasn't shown up in this third dimension.
Yes, and it's really, mine was such a huge piece, and little pieces are all over the place, so I know it's manifesting. Not in the same form, but it's out there.
Exactly.
So, it will be a beautiful experience for us all once we get through.
Yes.
So this month is the heavy hitting month, and then it should ease up, or is it just going to build up again for the next push?
Well, that's a loaded question.
And I know it was.
I stay in the moment. I see things, I feel things come to me, but I always know that everything changes. And even even what comes through today, Jennifer, might be different in 2 days. And so I also know that the flexibility, everybody has to be so flexible. And, you can have something come through and you go, oh, okay, that's the awareness, but it can change. And that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. And I've actually had things change within an hour. We wanted you to do this. No, we've changed our mind.
Exactly. And so flexibility with everything is huge, because if you stay stuck on something, you'll suffer. That's what I realize.
Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people are feeling right now. Yeah. I feel a lot of people are stuck only because it didn't come through the way they wanted. And they're not realizing how it did really come through.
Exactly. Oh, that's so important, is expectation and attachment. If this whole, if everybody on the planet can release expectation of how something is supposed to be, or attachment, oh wow, that would change the universe. It really would change the energy, because that is where people get stuck. They get stuck in, this is exactly how I want this to go through, but no, it's manifesting this way by this person. So,
yeah, and having a tantrum is not going to change it.
No, well, my 4-year-old still tries, though. He's very persistent in his tantrums of wanting something to be a certain way, but
yes. Kids have that right, though. Adults don't.
Exactly, but I laugh because I know he's already, he's like, this is a slow, this 3D, is slow. Like, I want it now, Mommy, right in this moment.
And I know it should be here right now. Yeah, what is going on?
He's right. It should be. But he's having to learn. He's got to have, slow down a little bit. But, why? He should be able to manifest instantly, just like we can manifest instantly. And one thing to keep in mind before we go is this fourth dimensional energies will allow all of us to manifest more quickly. So it's actually a very positive place that we're heading. And
but be careful what you think. I've got to say
yes,
that.
Careful.
Be very careful what you put out, because you will get it in some form.
Exactly, which is why keeping your thoughts and emotions in the positive band, only focused on what you do want, will, is important, because just like you're saying, if you focus on the negative, you'll get that too immediately. So it is really important to keep so focused and release those lower vibration, emotions or thoughts. So keep your thoughts, only where you want.
Yes.
And then you'll be good.
We are good.
Can say. We are good.
So
all right.
Valerie, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Enjoy the rest of your morning.
Okay,
you're beautiful.
Too.
We'll listen to you next Thursday.
Okay, wonderful. Yes, thank you. I look forward to it. Have a beautiful day, everybody.
Thank you. And this is Jennifer Hellman with Abstract Illusions Radio. With Spirit Radio, we do go by donation, or if you download, you have to make a nice donation so you can listen to these shows and download them. Either way, we really appreciate any kind of donation you give to us, because it keeps these kind of conversations alive and awake and around, so we all can understand what is going on. So with that, enjoy Age of Aquarius, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
This is Wolf Spirit Radio.
You're listening to Wolf Spirit with Dave Corso.